Tele-Town Hall with City of Brownsville Commissioner at Large B, Nurith Galonsky. And we're calling residents across the city right now. If you're on the line and would like to ask a question during this forum, all you have to do is press 0. And if you're joining us right now, you can also give us your email address to get email updates from the city on the issues that affect you as a resident by pressing 7. Now, we're going to start off tonight by highlighting a few key topics. Then we want to spend the majority of tonight's forum answering your questions. So as you listen to our updates, think about questions you'd like to submit for Q&A. You can press 0 at any time to get your question to an operator, and we'll start by focusing on the future of Brownsville. We'll talk about major infrastructure investments, housing projects, drainage improvements, and how your voice will shape what comes next. We're just about finished dialing out to about 53,000 of your fellow Brownsville residents, and in a moment we'll hear from Brownsville's Commissioner at Large B, Nurith Galonsky, and she will get us up to speed on some key topics. If you have any questions for Q&A that will follow our presentation on some of those key topics, again, just press 0. Get your question to an operator, and you're welcome to ask your question live if you're comfortable going live. If not, just let your operator know if you want me to read your question over the air instead. Whatever's more comfortable for you is fine with us. But again, 0 to submit a question for Q&A. And again, you can get email updates from the city by pressing 7 to give us your email address so we can keep you updated on the issues that affect you as Brownsville residents. Now, we also welcome you to take the city's resident survey to help shape the future of Brownsville. You can find that survey by going to tthm.com/Brownsville. So again, 0 for questions. Press 7 if you want to get email updates. And with that, it's my pleasure to welcome in Brownsville Commissioner at Large B, Nurith Galonsky, to get us started. Please go ahead, Commissioner.
Thank you, Ian. Good evening, Brownsville. I'm Commissioner at Large B, Nurith Galonsky. Welcome to the city's first Tele-Town Hall. We're excited to connect with you tonight because everything we're discussing directly impacts your daily life, how you move through our city, where you live, and how we plan for the future of our city together. Tonight, we'll cover 4 key areas: our capital improvement program, including road and infrastructure upgrades, the upcoming housing master plan, the drainage fee and how it supports better services, and our forthcoming resident survey, which is your opportunity to help guide decisions. Most importantly, this is your conversation. We want to hear from you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Commissioner Galonsky. And a quick reminder that as you're listening tonight, folks, if you have a question about anything that you're hearing, press 0, get it to an operator. You'll be able to ask your question live, or you can let your operator know if you want me to read your question instead. And you can always follow the City of Brownsville on Facebook and YouTube to watch this conversation live and stay connected year-round. Let's go ahead and get started. I'll turn it back over to you, Commissioner.
Joining me tonight are members of our city team who are helping lead these efforts, from infrastructure planning to housing and public utilities. These are the professionals working every day to move Brownsville forward.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you again, Commissioner. And let's go ahead and get started here with sort of a big picture question. Joining us tonight, we have Interim City Manager Alan Gard and Assistant City Manager Doro Garcia. So we're going to have them help us to discuss these topics. This big city question I have for the two of you is, what is the City of Brownsville's capital improvement program, and why does it matter to residents?
Would you like us to start? Sure. The capital improvement program is that program that we use to fix major items in the city. It's how we fix our roads. It's how we take care of our buildings. It's how we provide facilities for parks and recreation programs. It is really those items that we use to build community.
Got it. Thank you so much. And we are, again, joined by, we've got about 1,600 people on the line right now, and I want to remind everybody that if you have questions that you'd like to submit for Q&A, go ahead and press 0. submit those questions to our operator. Is there anything else you'd like to highlight as far as public safety, major street and transportation improvements, or the drainage and flood mitigation project?
Sure. So our capital improvement program is a multi-year investment strategy. We have about $500 million involved in our capital improvement program that includes roads, drainage, public safety building, and essential infrastructure. The public safety complex is one of our biggest investments. That will run about $75 to $80 million, and it will include our police department, our fire administration, our emergency operations center, and cybersecurity for our IT department. It'll help us respond better. It'll have more of a modern facility. It will really be a great environment for our public safety professionals to work in, and we're very much looking forward to that becoming a reality. Some of our major street and transportation improvements include, and you've seen them underway, Old Highway 77. We just started Coffeeport Road. We will be sending out for bid Old Alice. Dennett Road is going to be awarded by the City Commission next week at the City Commission meeting. So you're going to see about $45 to $46 million worth of road projects under construction or about to become under construction in the next year or two. So there's a lot of different things coming on. You'll see we've been doing groundbreakings for our trails, more trails coming toward you, improvements you'll see at our parks through funding from BCIC. You'll see some new splash pads come in, new playgrounds are going up, so you should see improvements in almost every neighborhood in town. Dora, you want to fill in a little bit on the drainage and flood?
Sure. I'll also like to add that we're also working on synchronization of our traffic signals. More than 70% of our streets are going to be utilized or improved with our traffic signal upgrade that we have funded by the RGV MPO. That project will help with synchronization throughout the city. In addition to the synchronization, or why do we want synchronization? It'll improve traffic flows in our area. Faster traffic, getting traffic to move from one place to another helps people save on their fuel and the wear and tear on their vehicles as well. So it's really important for our community. When it comes to drainage, the city is investing very heavy in flood mitigation projects right now. One of our major projects is the Four Corners Detention Pond. That particular project will help that specific area for flooding. Four Corners, as many of you all know, is an area that floods heavily in our city. So we're hoping that that project helps alleviate a lot of the major flooding we see. In addition to that, we have several culvert replacements. For those of you who may not know what a culvert is anytime you drive over a street and you see a resaca on either side of you, it's a very high probability that we'll have some pipes underneath that'll be being upgraded so that we have water flowing properly and reduce flooding as well. In addition to that, many of these waterways will be dredged and improved to help focus on the reduction of flooding and managing our stormwater more effectively. What does this mean for our residents, Alan, when we work on all this CIP? You know, it's improved roads, improved parks, safer neighborhoods, better connectivity, a stronger foundation for our economic growth. All of these projects aren't just about construction, they're about improving the everyday life for our citizens.
All right, thank you so much. Appreciate both of you being with us. And again, folks, joining us today are Nurith Galonsky, our City Commissioner at Large B, Alan Gard, our Interim City Manager, and Doro Garcia, our Assistant City Manager. We're going to run a quick survey here. We're going to get your feedback by running a poll. You'll be able to vote on your phone. Then we'll hear from Commissioner Galonsky and our Interim City Manager and Assistant City Manager again. Then we want to go to questions from you folks in our listening audience. I see one coming from Josefina in Southmost, and we'll be gladly taking questions from anybody else as well. So a reminder, if you have a question, press 0. Our question for you, though, is what is your top concern as a Brownsville resident? Press 1 if road conditions are your top concern in your neighborhood. Press 2 if drainage or flooding are your top concern. And press 3 if housing affordability and availability are your top concern. So again, what is your top concern as a Brownsville resident specific to your neighborhood? Press 1 if it's road conditions. Press 2 if it's drainage or flooding. Press 3 if it's housing affordability and availability. And again, 0 to submit questions. If you want to get email updates from the city, you can press 7 to get those, and we'll gladly keep you updated. And again, if you want to take the city survey, you can go to tthm.com/Brownsville. And we appreciate that feedback. We'll have one more survey in just a moment here. We are monitoring your responses. And Commissioner Galonsky, residents often ask, why is the city launching a housing master plan now? Can you and the panel speak to that?
Brownsville is growing, and with growth comes opportunity, but also challenges. The Housing Master Plan is about being proactive. We want to ensure there are quality, affordable housing options for families, workforce professionals, and future generations. This plan will guide where and how we build, creating neighborhoods that are livable, connected, and sustainable.
I think the Housing Master Plan is really, it's a really important time to be doing that. We have a lot of new manufacturing coming in. Our Greater Brownsville Economic Development Corporation is trying to bring in a number of new companies that'll bring in thousands of jobs. And with those jobs, those people will need housing. And so we need a whole variety of housing. We'll need executive housing, we'll need workforce housing, and we know right now there's a real need for overall affordable housing throughout the city. I know there's a long waiting list to get into some of our, with our housing authority. And so we need to have housing, clean, safe, affordable housing for everybody at every income level in this town. And the Housing Master Plan will really help us guide and design our neighborhoods in a way so that we're able to meet all those needs for every resident, for every citizen that lives in Brownsville.
Yeah, it also helps guide that the development should happen and ensure that it's taking place in neighborhoods that need this development, right? So that we distribute the type of residents that are needed throughout our city. In addition to that, it keeps us to be well connected and supported by our infrastructure and aligned with our long-term economic development goals of our city. So the Housing Master Plan, I think the timing couldn't be any better with the rapid growth that we have right now. It helps maintain a balance throughout our city and what our community needs to help keep affordable housing in our area.
Thank you again. Appreciate you, Commissioner. Thank you, City Manager Gard and Assistant City Manager Garcia. And again, thank you everybody who's participating. We've already had over 5,650 residents join this live forum, so we really do appreciate your time tonight. We're going to run our second survey, and then we're going to have our panel talk a little bit about drainage, and then we'll get, again, to your questions in just a few minutes here as well. So our second question for you is, how do you feel about available housing in Brownsville? Press 1 if you feel like more housing options are needed in Brownsville. Press 2 if you're satisfied with current housing options. Press 3 if you're unsure. So again, how do you feel about available housing in Brownsville? Press 1 if you feel like more housing options are needed in Brownsville. Press 2 if you're satisfied with current housing options. Press 3 if you're unsure. Go ahead and vote on that second survey now. Appreciate that feedback. And remember that you can take the city survey and help shape the future of Brownsville by going to tthm.com/Brownsville. Now let's talk about drainage. Commissioner, what is the drainage fee and how does it benefit residents?
So currently the city does not have a drainage fee in place. However, the City Commission will soon be considering a proposal to maybe replace the Resaca fee and replace it with a drainage fee that is more equitable for all residents. Not everyone lives on a Resaca, and so a lot of people have said, why do I have to pay a Resaca fee? And in reality, we all need drainage. So Doro or Alan, would y'all like to add to that?
Yeah, I think it's exactly what you said, that when we have the term Resaca fee, people feel that that's what it's for. And in reality, it's more than Resacas, it's drainage. So the Resaca fee provides a reliable, dedicated source of funding. The intent that we're doing by looking at the drainage fee is to make it more inclusive of the needs that we have in our community. This will help to make sure that we not only maintain our Resacas, but also maintain all our drainage systems throughout the city and continue investing in our infrastructure to help keep the neighborhood safe, preserve property values, and support the overall community well-being.
And more than anything, it's to be transparent, right? Because ultimately the goal is drainage. So by maybe changing it from Resaca fee to drainage fee, that is really what it's going for, correct?
It is definitely more inclusive, and it's more, it's directed to what our community needs, and very clear that it's drainage. It's not just about Resacas.
And I'd like to add that we are working right now on looking at what the structure of what that drainage utility would look like, what the fee would look like, and we will be having a number of community engagement opportunities. So residents will have an opportunity to come and get educated about it. What is the purpose of it? What is the history behind the Resaca fee? And what the changes that both the City Commission and the Public Utility Board are looking at in terms of the Resaca fee and the drainage utility. So we want to hear from residents. We encourage you to come and participate in those community engagement opportunities. So keep an eye out for those. You'll see the city advertise those on social media, as well as PUB will be making you aware of when those opportunities will arise.
Because we want to hear from everyone, yes.
Yeah, that's a great segue, because we're going to talk about that resident survey next here, Commissioner. And a reminder to our residents, we do have quite a few questions already in our queue. I'm seeing 10 of you who have already submitted questions. We'll be getting to your questions in just a moment. A few more of you are waiting to talk to an operator to get your question in. But just a reminder, you can press 7 if you want to get email updates. You can press 0 if you want to get a question to the queue for the Q&A that will follow our updates here. And the survey we're going to talk about, again, you can take it by going to tthm.com/Brownsville. But I'd like to discuss this with our panel here. So Commissioner Galonsky, can you talk to us about the survey and why it's important for residents to participate?
Great. So, because the best decisions come from understanding real community needs, the survey helps us hear directly from you what's working, what needs improvement, and where we should focus next. It guides everything from infrastructure to services and helps ensure we're aligned with what residents want. So in essence, this is an opportunity to see what's most important to you. What do you think that the city's doing right? Where do you want the city to focus on? And well, we want to make sure that we're doing what you want, what you think most important.
Alan and Doro, do you have any thoughts to share on that resident survey that's just launching?
Sure, go Doro.
Sure. So we're very excited about this survey. I mean, this is the first time that the city conducts a survey of this magnitude with all our residents, and we're really looking for the feedback so that we can better plan in accordance to what our residents are looking to have in our city. It's very important that you engage and provide your honest feedback. You know, we want to hear the good, the bad, and the ugly of what's going on in our city and what we can do and how we can change what we're doing to better suit the needs of our citizens.
And I think to add on to that, this commission has really put a priority on being transparent and understanding what the needs of our community are. And the best way to do that is to ask you how you feel about the services that you're receiving. We've gone through a Parks, Health, and Recreation Master Plan. We've looked at our museums and our cultural environment, and we've had a number of community engagements in that area. We've worked on a downtown master plan where we engaged probably over 1,000 of members of our community on that. So this community survey is another way for us to hear how you feel about our parks, how do you feel about our police department and our fire department, and all the essential city services that the city provides. This should give us a sense of prioritization as we get into our budget season for preparing our fiscal year 2027 budget. And so your feedback and your input can definitely have an effect on how we allocate the resources that we have, that we receive from your tax dollars. So it's really important for us to hear. The commission really wants to hear what's important to you so that we make sure we're budgeting our resources properly.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that, Commissioner Galonsky, and to our panel. Now, before we engage with live questions from our audience, and we've got quite a few lined up. Commissioner Galonsky, Mr. Guard, Mr. Garcia, is there something more you'd like to share with our audience regarding any of the topics we've already discussed here today? I'll go to Commissioner Galonsky first.
Just that the resident survey is available online. Do y'all know how long it takes, more or less? I haven't filled it out.
Depending on the questions that you answer, it's anywhere between 10 to 15 minutes.
Okay.
It's really a very interactive survey, and as you go through it, depending whether it's a topic that you're interested or not, it'll segue you to additional questions on those topics. Okay. If it's not a topic of interest to you, it'll just pretty much end there. So it really varies on how interactive and what's important to you as a resident.
Okay, great. I encourage anyone who just take at least 5 to 10 minutes to participate. It's your taxpayer money at work, and so you should have a right to voice how that is being spent.
And I really want to commend the commission. They have really taken an interest in being engaged with our community. We have some commissioners that do podcasts. We have coffee with the mayor. Our other commissioners are going to be preparing to do town hall meetings. And so we really are interested in what your thoughts are because we really want to make sure that we're properly spending your money the way that you feel it should be. So I commend the commission for being very open and transparent and wanting to hear from our community and being very engaged.
Commissioner De Leon does a lot of cleanups, so if you like cleanups, make sure to reach out to Commissioner De Leon.
All right, thank you again to our panel, and we're ready to get started with Q&A. We're going to spend the rest of our forum. We've got a good 35 minutes here to take your questions, and we've got quite a few of them stacked up, so let's jump right into it. We've got our first one coming live from Josefina in Southmost. Go ahead, please, you're live.
Hello?
Hello.
Hey, we've got you live on the line with Commissioner Galonsky as well as our city manager and assistant city manager. What's your question?
Okay, it's for me, right?
Yes.
It sure is.
Okay. No, maybe I'm getting out of the topic, but as you say, for the residents, that my question is, when a person wants to let's say, repair a home for a little, how do you say, pick up the rotten things from the home. Okay. For what are we supposed to get permits? That's my question, because I have never known for what you're supposed to get permits if you're going to repair, or you're going to take out just a little lumber or something from your home, or if you're going to go, let's say, I'm going to go get some dirt so I can fill my yard with a little dirt, or paint the house, remove a window, repair a window. Are we supposed to get permits for all that?
Definitely, I can answer that question.
And Josefina, I also saw...
when it comes to basic improvements, like if you're going to be painting your house, replacing a window, a broken window, those minor maintenance items you can do without permits. The main indicator for permit needs is anytime you're doing like an electrical improvement, when you're doing something that requires plumbing, a water line, a sewer line, or that requires, you're going to replace your roof, HVAC, or your air conditioner. When you're doing anything that requires a licensed individual, that's the number one sign that you need a permit. But if you need additional information, you can always visit our office or call our helpline, and they'll be able to answer your question specifically. If you can let us know exactly what you're doing, we'll definitely be able to answer that for you. Anytime that you're doing improvements or filling dirt, we do ask that you get a permit just to make sure that any of the water that comes off your roof or your site doesn't go to your neighbor's property, to avoid any issues with the neighbors. But those are some of the basic components of when you would need a permit.
So the helpline is 956-546-HELP. And you call them, and they're very knowledgeable, and they can answer your question or get you to the right person who can answer your question.
Dora, a while back, I knew of someone who was trying to do a wheelchair ramp in front of their house. Would that require a permit?
No.
Okay.
No, wheelchair ramps you can construct.
Okay, great. Thank you for your question. That's very helpful. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Josephina. And we'll go right to Jennifer in Robindale next. Hey, Jennifer, you're live. Go ahead with your question.
I didn't plan on going live. I just want to know when 14th Street is going to get fixed from Security on down to Roosevelt. There's a lot of commuting through there, and the streets aren't very, that street doesn't have any like lines or anything. They're barely seen. You can barely see them. So there's all kinds of vehicles going through that street. I think it really needs repair.
I'll be glad to answer that question for you. Yes, 14th Street, we had it scheduled to start last year actually, but we held back on the construction of that given that International is still under construction. And International, although it has taken a little bit longer than normal, we're very glad that the state assisted in doing drainage improvements on that roadway in addition to what they had planned initially. And that's what's made that construction project take as long as it has. But once International's complete, I would say within about 3 to 4 months after that's complete, we would be starting with 14th Street from Boca Chica down to Southmost.
Got it. Thank you so much. Appreciate that answer. Jennifer, thank you for your question. We'll get right to our next one from Lizette in Palo Verde. Lizette, are you good to go live with your question?
Yes, I am, sir. Good
All right,
evening, everyone. Thank you for taking my question. I live in Palo Verde, and when we have substantial rainfall, the intersection of Paredes Line Road and Price Road floods like four corners. And it part of Paredes Line going towards Ruben Torres, you can only drive by right almost on the yellow line because the outer lanes on both directions are so full of water, rain water.
Yes, I can definitely answer that question as well. When it comes to that particular intersection, I can say all of our roadways are designed that whenever it's raining, the sides of the streets are going to flood. The intent is for you to drive on the middle of the road or near the center of the road so you have a safe way to get home. As you all know, Brownsville is very flat. There's very little change in elevation. We're very fortunate with that because we don't have the flash flooding that occurs in other cities like San Antonio or areas that have a high change in elevation. But at this particular intersection, I think when we complete the improvements for the Price Road detention ponds, you'll see some alleviation of flooding. But the on-road water, it's a challenge because depending on how much it rains is how much water we're gonna have ponding. Anything above 4 inches of rain, it's very likely that we have heavy ponding on our roadways, and we encourage our residents, to stay home while it's raining. If you have to be on the road, be safe and try to use the center of the road versus the edges of the road.
Got it. Thank you again. Appreciate that answer. Thank you to Lizette and Palo Verde. Appreciate you being a part of our call. We're going to go to Eva and Robindale in a moment here, but we did just clear the queue of folks who were waiting to give us their email address for email updates from the city. If you want to get those email updates, go ahead and press 7, speak to an operator, give them your best email address so we can keep you updated on the issues that affect you as a resident. We're going to go to Eva live next. Welcome, Eva, you're live. Are you good to go live with your question?
Yes, my question was regarding any sidewalks or anything for bicycles, to ride along Robindale. There's been several accidents happening and, people walking on grass really high, growing high. And so that was my concern, any sidewalks, in our neighborhoods,
Sure. I'll take that question as well. As far as sidewalks, we're very fortunate, and I think our citizens are very fortunate that our commission has allocated funding specifically for sidewalks this year. They've allocated $500,000 for gaps and sidewalks in areas. Obviously, we have over 830 miles of roadways in our city, so that's about 830 miles of sidewalk at least if we only do a sidewalk on one side to build. So $500,000 does not stretch very far, but right now our focus for sidewalks is on gaps, areas that have sidewalk and need small stretches to connect them. In specific to Robindale, I think those improvements would come together whenever the road itself is improved. Right now, it is not on our work plan, but we'll definitely continue looking into it and seeing when we can schedule those improvements for that area.
Perfect. Thank you again. Appreciate you, Eva. We're going to go right to our next one from Rosie in Rio Viejo. Rosie, you're live. Are you good to go live with your question?
Yes, sir, I am.
All right, have it.
Good evening. Good evening. First of all, thank you for taking my call and my question. And I realize that we have information somewhere stored about the age levels or age ranges of our citizens in Brownsville. But I, being a baby boomer, I would like to see more handicap parking on our city streets. It is difficult for some of us that are not mobile and friends of mine. And it would be great if we could have some allocated handicap parking, especially around churches and downtown.
So for handicap parking spaces, obviously we have standards from accessibility from ADA in both the state as well, right, with the Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation. I know recently, I can speak for our downtown, we reassessed the conditions of our accessible parking in downtown, and we did make substantial changes, one, to the number of parking spaces, and I can say that we do exceed the minimum requirements that are required by the state. We typically have more than one parking spot per city block. A lot of the times what we ask our residents that want accessible parking in specific areas, if you can let us know so we can look into it. We're definitely very proactive in making sure that we address those needs. As far as specific locations, like you mentioned, the churches or any other city buildings, they too have to comply with certain requirements, and it's one space for every 25 that are provided. So if you see concerns or you feel that they're not meeting that, you can bring that up to our attention through our helpline, 546-HELP, or you can also notify the state and they'll look into it as well for compliance with ADA.
Excellent. Thank you again. And really appreciate you being a part of our forum there, Rosie. We're going to go to Jack next in downtown Brownsville. Quick reminder, you can press 0 to get in a question of your own. Jacques, you're up live next. Are you good to go live with your question?
I think you meant Jackie, unless there is a Jack.
It's Jackie. My apologies. Go ahead, Jackie.
So currently we do have the resident recycling program, but they don't take glass and things like propane tanks or butane tanks. There's no place to drop those off. Is there a plan in place for the city to address these gaps and ensure, more accessible drop-off locations or more comprehensive recycling access?
Yeah, I'll take on the glass part of that. When we went out for bids for recycling, one of the things that the companies that did respond to our bids said that they do not have a market for glass. So both companies that bid did not offer to accept glass as part of the recycling. Larger cities like Dallas, Fort Worth, Houston, they have access to markets where they can send the recycled glass. But in Brownsville, we don't have access to that market. So it was very difficult to get companies that would be willing to take glass. It is something we always want to keep at the forefront. And as we continue to work on the recycling program, this is the first year that we've had it. We will continue to talk with our vendor, our provider, about whether or not they can take glass. On the propane tank, Dodo might be better able to answer that one.
We have several recyclers in town that will take any metals or aluminums as well. In addition to that, the propane and butane tanks, if you don't want to take it to a recycler, you can always take it to the landfill, and typically they will sort that and take it in to a recycler if we receive it before it goes through our scales, or if you let us know before you go into the landfill itself.
Thank you again, and appreciate that question from Jackie. We're going to be going to Patrick again, and just Patrick with our next question in just a moment here, joining us from near McClellan Boulevard. Patrick, are you good to go live with your question?
Yeah, I sure am. Thank you.
All right.
Okay, Doro, why in the world don't we have Greens Division cutting the grass and taking out the trees from that area in front of it's Resaca Drive, in that area in front of VM, all the way down, to VM Drive? Why is it that we have let that thing overgrow, that whole Resaca band overgrow, and it's really a mess down there on Belfair anyway? It just needs to be cleaned up, and it wouldn't take much, but I would hope that you would get some green people out there to make sure it gets cleaned up every once in a while.
So unfortunately, that project was funded through a USAC Restore grant. And part of the grant is to restore the natural habitat. So what we did is we went in there and in collaboration with our partner, Brownsville Public Utilities Board, and they cleaned out all the invasive species of shrubs that we had in the area and were replaced with native species. And the grant itself it does not allow us to mow. The intent is to maintain the native habitat of that area.
Got it. Understood. All right. Thank you for that answer. And Patrick, thank you for your question. We're going to go to our first question from our Spanish simulcast broadcast. We're broadcasting in Spanish as well tonight. And this one comes to us from Durami in Los Alamos, asking, the problem I have is that I need help removing wildlife from my property and better service from animal control. So that's from Durami in Los Alamos. Any suggestions for Durami?
Sure. Do you need me to respond in Spanish, or will you all translate?
We're translating in Spanish now. Yeah, you can respond in English.
I'm sorry? Okay. Yes, so our animal, you can call our 546 helpline again and speak to our animal shelter, and they'll be able to help with any kind of animal relief that you may need. I know recently we had a jabalina in town. That was a first for me in my 23 years here. So I can say, I know bees is another one that's pretty common that we get called on to help with. The bees one is one that's our in-house team will take care of it, unless it's a pretty large hive, then we do ask for help. But our 546 helpline and our animal shelter will be glad to help with any animal concerns that you may have. If it's too big or something that we cannot handle, we'll always reach out to Texas Park and Wildlife for help.
Perfect. Thank you again. Thank you to Durami in Los Alamos, and we'll go to John in Rio Viejo next. John, welcome. Are you good to go live with your question?
I am.
All right. Go ahead, please.
Hi, Doro.
Hello.
John Patriarch here. I've been listening. This is really cool. I took the call on my earpieces and had no idea what was going on, but it came from the Brownsville Help Hotline, so I figured it was legit. My question is regarding Access Brownsville, which is an app that Brownsville used to have. I think Rose Gowan was involved in starting it. I really liked it. It's very similar to the PUB app. It's BPUB, where you can report problems, outages, power outages, water leaks, whatever. And the Access Brownsville app kind of went kaput, I guess, because it doesn't work anymore. I'm on my iPad. I just checked, and the app is no longer available. Any plans on bringing it back? And Dora, you don't have to answer that one, but I just want to say hello.
Thank you. No, yes, we do have plans to bring it back. We've actually been looking into our app for, I'd say, well over 6 months now. We did have some issues with it, but our IT department is working proactively, and I'm hopeful that we can get it back in the next 3 to 4 months, but you should see that back soon. It was a very useful tool for our community. We did upgrades on our citizen request line, and that's one of the upgrades that'll be coming with it. So I'm sure our marketing team will help inform the public, and if you're registered for the email updates, we'll make sure we send an update of when that gets back up and running. Thank you.
In the meantime, 546 help though really helps, and I often call when I'm driving, and so that way I don't forget. As soon as I see something, I'm like, oh, let me call them. I encourage you to use 546 help in the meantime.
Thank you for that.
Any other questions?
Yeah, appreciate you again. Thank you, John. We do have a few more lined up next. I'm going to do a last call here for email updates. We do have about 15 minutes left to take your questions, but if you wanted to give us your email address during this forum to get those email updates, remember you can press 7 here. If any late questions you want to submit, you can press 0. And a reminder, you're on with City Commissioner at-large B. Nurith Galonsky, Alan Garter, Interim City Manager, and Doro Garcia, our Assistant City Manager. Our next question is going to come to us from Gabriela in Los Baños. Gabriela, we've got you live. Are you good to go live with your question?
Yes, concerning animals, wild animals, and nutrients and all that, cats and stray cats or stray dogs. They don't seem to want to pick them up anymore because the animal shelter does not do that anymore, or the city doesn't do that anymore. We're like, we don't know. Like, we can trap them.
I'll try.
But they tell us that they don't take care of that. So there's no more animal shelter, or there's no more things like that, or because we have a lot of animals like that in our resakas and all that.
If you would call
They eat our
the
grass.
546 help and leave your name and number, tell them that you want to leave that information with the city manager's office. We do have an animal shelter. They do continue to pick up dogs and cats. I was there today and I saw a number of dogs and cats. So they do that. They do try to work with the neighborhoods. A number of these cats are feral cats and they're not adoptable. We do have some programs where they capture the cats in particular, and they do spay-neuter, and then they return them back to the neighborhood. We do need to do a lot of education. Sometimes there are kind people in the neighborhood who leave food out for the dogs and cats that are strays, and that is not a good idea because that encourages them then to stay in those neighborhoods. So please contact 546 HELP. Tell them where your neighborhood is. Tell them you want to make sure that animal control is aware of that situation. And if you want to add to that, tell them that you would like the city manager's office to be aware of that situation, and we will coordinate the effort to try to assist in that area.
All right. Thank you again. Appreciate you, Gabriela. Let's get Sonia up next here in Conterrace. Sonia, you're next. Are you good to go live?
Yes.
All right.
My question, when will they be dredging our resacas over here, Resaca de la Guerra, or if there's any future plans or funds, allocated for this resaca? I live over here by Resaca Gardens on Cowan Terrace, and I've seen the one over here dredged by the old city cemetery and the Gladys Porter Zoo, the Gladys Porter Park. So I was just wondering when they were going to get to ours, because I think that the other one is called Resaca de la Palma.
Yes, so right now we're going through our study. The program that's currently doing the dredging is going to be completed probably at the end of this year, I would say. And then once we complete our resaca and drainage fee study, we'll go ahead and lay out a schedule of what improvements will be happening probably for the next 5 years, and we can give you a better idea. I think if you share your email with us, we can definitely make sure that we send that update once we have it available to the public.
All right, perfect. Thank you again. Appreciate you, Sonia. And Sonia, if you didn't get a chance to give us your email address to get updates from the city, you can press 7 here before we get to the end in a few minutes. Let's go ahead and get to Luis next in Villa Los Pinos. Luis, you're live. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Sure can.
My question is, what are your all's plans in trying to get all the debris or have the sweepers clean up the highways, because there's a lot of rock chips and debris out there that's very dangerous when someone's speeding. Those rocks come at you like crazy. And also the streets.
So I'll answer this in three parts, right? On the actual expressway, the state is the one that's responsible for the maintenance of the highway itself, the cleaning and the sweeping of the highway itself. On the frontage roads, the city and the TxDOT just joined into an agreement where they've now provided a portion of the funding so that the city does the maintenance and the mowing of the frontage roads. So we're working on that now. On the actual roadways itself, we have a street sweep program. It takes roughly about 3 months for us to sweep the entire city. And if you check our website, you'll see the schedule that we have. Or I can send a link via the email updates that we're sharing so that everybody on our viewing or listening audience can receive the link where they can check the period or time frame of when your streets are swept. But every street is swept in Brownsville on a quarterly basis. I hope that answers your question.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Thank you, Luis. And I'm going to go ahead and remind everybody about how to take that survey as well. We really do appreciate you taking that survey. If you have time to take it, you can get to it at any time by going to tthm.com/Brownsville. Again, tthm.com/Brownsville. If you wanted to take that survey and help shape the future of the city, we really would appreciate it. And we're going to go to one more question next. We've got our next one coming from Jose in Herrincova State. Jose, you're live. Go ahead.
I actually thought I had left a question with the operator, but the question that I have is pertaining to the synchronization of the light. Let me kind of set it up about like 2 years ago, I heard that the lights on Alton Glore, 802, and Boca Chica had been synchronized. Additionally, I heard that South Most was not ready for it, so they moved up Boca Chica's synchronization. But I traffic Alton Glore and 802 often, and I noticed several lights are not synchronized. And I called about 10 times, specifically 2 or 3 lights, and they tell me, okay, we're going to fix it. And then last time I called, they told me that project had not started yet, which is correct. Has the project started and some of the main roads been done, or none of it has been done? Because I heard the city spent like $6 million to do that, and that's why I emphasize on calling every time I see the lights are not synchronized.
Sure,
that is my question.
I'll be glad to answer that question for you. As far as synchronization, right, that term is used very loosely. I'll classify it as modern synchronization, right? Using the technologies that are available at this day and age. The only segment in Brownsville that is currently synchronized is Boca Chica from Four Corners to Expressway. That segment is synchronized with the latest technology. We are working on corridors like FM 802, 12th Street, Central, Alton Glore, but that's work in progress. I think once we complete the ITS, or the traffic infrastructure project that we have, that we were recently awarded $28 million, is when you'll see the full synchronization of these corridors that you mentioned. Right now, the synchronization that you currently have is what we call a timing adjustment, and they are basically manually adjusted with guesstimates of time that it takes from one person to travel from one signal to the other, and that's the synchronization we currently have in place, and that's why you see the challenges that you have. And I feel that that's why the RGV MPO and the state were so willing with helping in funding this ITS project, because they see that it is a big need. So I think in the next 2 to 3 years, Brownsville is going to see some significant traffic improvements when it comes to synchronization.
Right now, that project is being engineered.
Correct.
So right now, the project is in progress. And so when Dodo says 2 to 3 years, we go through the engineering aspects of it, then we have to go through the procurement, and then the actual installation and implementation of everything. But the great news is that it is funded, both by the RGV MPO, and the city's match has also been funded by the commission. So that's a big hurdle that's already been overcome. It's just now executing it. And so we have a team that's working on that. That's one of their major projects, but it's big. It's a big project. So we ask for your patience, and we're really glad to hear that question, but you will see that difference in the next 2 to 3 years. And in different parts of town will get completed as that project progresses. So be patient with us. Keep an eye out for it. If you have your email in the system, look for the updates on that.
Yes, 80% of our city will be connected as far as the signals are, and about 40% of our corridors will be fully synchronized with this funding.
Perfect. Thank you again, everyone. And I think we have time for one more. And then, folks, when we get to the end of our forum, we'll give you the opportunity to leave a voicemail if we didn't get a chance to get to your question. And we'll be following up with every question that we got that we didn't get a chance to answer today. We'll have somebody with the city follow up with you and answer it. We are almost out of time, but we've got time for one more from Tino in downtown Brownsville. Tino, we've got you live. Are you good to ask your question live?
Sure. Thank you. So, sir, I wanted to know, because I live right in front of where the old railroad track used to be, and it's an empty lot. But recently I started hearing that they want to connect 6th and 7th Street to Mexico Boulevard, which would go right over us. And I just wanted to know, is that finalized, or do you have other plans that you guys are thinking of doing?
There's always been conceptual talks about extending 6th and 7th Street to Mexico Boulevard. Those plans have not been materialized or formalized, but it is something that's always talked about. I think if that ever formalizes, we'll definitely share that and have some public input from our community before moving forward with that project.
All right, thank you again, and really appreciate our panel. We're going to go to them in a moment here to hear any closing thoughts that they might have. We'll start with Commissioner Galonsky, then we'll hear from Mr. Gard and Mr. Garcia if they have anything to share. But we are just about to end this live forum. If anybody submitted a question, I'm seeing 9 folks still in the queue. We didn't get a chance to get to your question, and we'll have somebody from the city follow up with you in the next couple of days here to provide you an answer. But if you do want to leave a voicemail message for us with any additional thoughts, questions, or concerns, you can stay on the line here at the end of our forum. And by staying on the line, you'll go to our voicemail system. You can leave us a voicemail with your name, your phone number, and your message, and we'll have somebody get back to you if you leave a voicemail message as well. And I do want to plug that resident survey one more time. This is your chance to directly influence city priorities. You can find that survey by going to tthm.com/Brownsville, and we'd love to hear your feedback. And with that, I'd love to turn it back over to our panel to offer a few thoughts on a couple of things. Number one, can you talk about the importance of community engagement, this event, and the survey? And also, why is it important for our residents to connect with us and for you to connect with our residents?
Well, I'm glad that our topics mainly tonight were for infrastructure, and I'm glad that people brought up other issues such as access, the access app that they had on the phone, and our problems with stray animals. We want your engagement, like today. Now we know some of the issues that maybe we're not thinking about that are really important to you and affect you on a regular basis. So because of that, we need community engagement. Moments like these where you can engage, when you can converse with us either by telephone or by attending an event, or just even calling up the 546 helpline. I know that a lot of my fellow city commissioners are very active in social media. Please reach out to them, and if I get a message directly from someone, I go out of my way to answer them, because I do want to create that connection with the person. What I'm thinking is not necessarily what my neighbor's thinking, what someone on the other side of town is thinking. And so I like to hear from everyone. And I hope that this experience encourages you to continue being involved and maybe spread the word that, yes, we are listening and we want your input.
I think community engagement is vital to how cities operate and how we allocate our resources. We have almost 1,300 employees here at the city, and the vast majority of them live in Brownsville. They are your neighbors. They are very dedicated, and they have a lot of heart in how they want to improve Brownsville and how they want Brownsville to be a great place to live and work and play. And so you communicating directly with us through opportunities like Telephone Town Hall is one way for us to hear what your needs and desires are for what it will take to make Brownsville a great place for you to want to talk about it, for you to be excited about it and tell your friends. So community engagement is the number one thing that we can do to find out what it takes to make Brownsville great for everybody. And so again, you heard about several opportunities we've already had. Telephone Town Hall is another one. The community survey is another one. So this commission is very interested in hearing what you have to say to help make Brownsville a great place to live, work, and play.
We'll be having our One City Summit as well soon. I think that's another place where we open up everything that we do for our community so that you can come in and interact with us and get to know more of what we have to offer. We push a lot our 546 helpline. That's our way of not only keeping ourselves accountable, but holding our employees accountable to making sure that we are acting, not only listening to your concerns. And we do ask you to be patient because some of your concerns are small concerns and that we can be addressed quickly, and others take a little bit of time and planning and effort and a couple of years to address, but slowly and surely we get to those. We do what we can with the resources that we have, and your input is always welcome and appreciated.
I think we're all proud to be from Brownsville, and so we each have a duty to then pitch in our little part and make it better. And that might be calling in a problem that we see, or even offering a suggestion like, this could be done differently. So it's incumbent on all of us to represent Brownsville and make sure that the city puts its best foot forward.
Thank you.
Thank you again to our panel. Again, we had City Commissioner Nurith Galonsky, we had Alan Gard, our interim city manager, and Doro Garcia, our assistant city manager, with us tonight. Really appreciate them presenting information and then, of course, answering all of your questions. If you do have a question that didn't get answered, again, we're going to reach out to you. We've got your question, your name, and your phone number. If you submitted a question to one of our operators, you'll get a call from the city to follow up. But if you didn't get a chance to give one of your questions to our operators, or you have an additional thought, question, or concern, stay on the line at the end of the forum here. Leave us a voicemail message with your name, your phone number, and whatever it is that you would like to leave us a message about. We're happy to hear from you. One more reminder, you can get help by dialing 546-HELP. That's 546-4357. You can take that survey at tthm.com/Brownsville. And we thank you for your time tonight. We appreciate you. Have a great evening.